As far as my favorite to win it, I'm probably still going to have to go with Ohio State.
Yeah.
I think that they have a lot of their very core DNA pieces back. Like you still have the best wide receiver in all of college football. Like recruiting classes are always top notch. Same thing with the defense. Am I high on Penn State? Sure, because they have a little amount of turnover on said roster from last year, returning quite a few guys, of course, missing Abdul Carter and maybe
Right.
a couple of others outside of that. But I think it really all depends on Drew Aller. Like, make no mistake, I really think that Drew Aller had every intention of going into the NFL last year, about midway through the season.
Which was shocking he didn't, because he probably would have went high in this class.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most definitely he would have. But I don't think that he lived up to his own expectations. And I think that he may or may not be their Achilles heel at some point. They do have an easy ass schedule though.
Right.
And so I will tell you what, like that's like probably one of the easiest schedules I've seen out of the Big Ten already. So I wouldn't be surprised if they make it to the championship game. But as far as pound for pound, who I think is the better team, I'm going to have to go with Ohio State on this one.
Yeah, I'm with you. And this was a tough one, as we were kind of looking through things. I feel like Penn State now, they do have the talent to compete with Ohio State because of Drew Aller. I feel like they're going to have the best running back duo in all of college football, right? But I just there's something about Penn State football. I just don't trust it when it gets real, right? It's just I just can't trust it with Penn State. Like you said, they play like Oregon at home, Indiana. They don't play Michigan, I believe, but they do have to go to Columbus to play Ohio State. And it's like, do I think Penn State can beat Ohio State in Columbus? I don't think so, until proven otherwise. So I'm still leaning towards Ohio State to win the Big Ten. That's for all the reasons that we mentioned. But I do think that Penn State, when we start talking about national championship, they'll be in the thick of things, because I feel like that loss versus Ohio State will possibly get them there. Now, we all know the Ryan Day's Achilles heel, even though he won the Natty, right, is can he beat Michigan? We talked about it on Tuesday. Yeah. Michigan's quarterback, though, is going to be improved. It's still going to be a young quarterback, probably stepping into college football as a freshman. How will things shake out for him? So I think this year Ohio State does get Michigan, because I think Jeremiah Spence is just going to just tear college football apart, to be honest with you. You also have Cardell Tate on the other side. Like they're loaded at the wide receiver position. So if I had to gauge it, I'm probably going to go with Ohio State to win the Big Ten. But Penn State will be competitive once we start talking about the CFB.
Yeah. So right before we get into sleepers, I have to ask you, right? Why am I not sold on Illinois while the rest of the country is? I still almost prefer Indiana over Illinois. I have more faith in Indiana than I do in that squad. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's because there's a lot of unknowns when it comes to Illinois, right? Because Indiana, we've seen it, right? Ohio State, we've seen it. A team that I want to call a sleeper, but Oregon, we've kind of seen them play at a high level. And though Illinois played well last year, because they had Pat Bryant and was it Franklin, right? Last year, it still wasn't top 3 Big Ten type of performance. So I think it's kind of hard to put your gut on Illinois. Yeah, I'm with you. I wouldn't lean on Illinois. I would probably have Oregon ranked over Illinois. And then you start to have a question about USC as well. I think USC is going to be fully revamped, and you can never, count out Wisconsin, Iowa. Like there's some solid teams in the Big Ten that I would probably think is maybe they're a little bit behind Illinois, but I don't see Illinois being top 3 in the Big Ten. So yeah.
And so I really think that team is going to disappoint. Like I have not seen more unearned hype around a college football program than I think Illinois has so far this offseason. I'm higher on Indiana.
Right.
Like, so we could even do that. I probably agree with you.
The that Indiana gets is crazy, right? Even like kind of last year, it's just like, so I don't know where the Illinois hype is. Yeah. I saw them, firsthand last year when they played versus Kansas. They're a good team, but it's not like what people are making them out to be, unless they know something
Yeah.
we don't know. But as of right now, I wouldn't trust Illinois, to be honest with
Mhm.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So now it comes down into sleepers. And I teased this on the last episode on the main Roundtable channel. And I think you know where I'm going to go with this. I like Michigan this year, man. I really, really do. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a hypocrite because with that exact same sentiment that I just gave Illinois with all of the unknowns, there's just as many unknowns with Michigan. But
Mm-hmm.
I trust all of their transfer portal class, number one, and then also with
Right.
freshmen coming in, specifically five-star Bryce Underwood. Again, it's fall camp. He's been doing
Right.
very well in fall camp. He's probably going to get the nod like we sort of agreed on, right? Like they are not
Mm-hmm.
paying this young man that much in NIL without the intention of starting him.
Right.
But again, favorable schedule this year,
Mm-hmm.
wildly favorable. I think one of their most difficult matchups is obviously against Ohio State. I'm forgetting whether or not that's home or away. I'm trying to think of what it was last year. I think they were in Michigan last year or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
They are definitely away in Southern California. That might be a toss-up game right there, which is going to be pretty competitive. And then, but like really outside of that, man, like there is a world
Mm-hmm.
where I could see Michigan, as long as Bryce Underwood lives up to even 80% of the hype, where I could see them walking away with a one-loss season and
Right.
really finding their way into that Big Ten championship once again.
Oh man.
You don't agree? Go
I
ahead,
mean,
dog.
I can see it, but it's all going to be on the quarterback, right? It's going to be
Yeah.
on the quarterback and how that fares out, because we all know Michigan's defense is going to be solid. The run game is going to be solid. It's hard for a 5-star quarterback, and like I said, it's because even like we're saying with Arch, right? It's just like the speed of it, Big Ten football, playing against powerhouses like Ohio State. Is there going to be ready for that type of game? I'm not sure. If I had to go with a sleeper, quote unquote, I really like the Oregon Ducks. I think the Oregon Ducks is going to be a team that's going to be extremely, loaded when it comes to Dan Lanning out there. He has a solid quarterback and more, but the kid that a lot of people should watch out for is Mekhi Hughes, running back from Tulane. He was, I think, like 1,300 yards, something like that at Tulane last year. So I know when we think about Oregon Ducks football, we think pretty and passing and speedy wide receivers and, that whole ordeal. They do have some talent at the wide receiver position, but I feel like with Mekhi Hughes being probably a top 5 running back in college football, they'll be able to go and play against those tougher defenses like Ohio State, and actually be able to run the ball a little bit to control things. And so if I had to kind of do a sleeper, and they've listed at 4 on the chart, I would probably go with Oregon. So I feel like the Oregon Ducks and their defense is solid as well. They lost like 12, 11, something like
Yeah.
that to the NFL last year. But yeah, they
They're a
revamped.
recruiting powerhouse,
Yeah,
though.
they're recruiting powerhouse. I mean, those uniforms alone, they're going, you know what I'm saying? So I think
Oh,
what they
yeah,
had,
yeah, yeah. Oh,
like
yeah,
a
dude.
8
Say that I'm
recruiting
18
class.
years old, bro. Oh, yeah.
Oh
Say that I'm
yeah,
18
yeah.
years old and I
Money,
see all the
Nike,
uniforms I'm gonna be rocking,
yeah,
please.
facilities, like all of that, right? When it comes to Oregon. So if I had to count them as a sleeper, I would probably say the Oregon Ducks. You should definitely look out for them. So, and I wish they didn't lose Evan Stewart. I'm not sure if he's out for the full season with the knee injury, but if he comes back, he's an explosive wide receiver that can definitely change the dynamics of a game.
So the Oregon Ducks, I'd probably say I have the exact same philosophy as I do with the Georgia Bulldogs. Like,
Mhm.
I think why some people might be counting them out and having power rankings such as this, having Illinois over them, is largely due to the question of sort of like wanting to give the nod to a brand new quarterback since Gabriel is no longer there. This
Mhm.
team always figures it out, like
Mhm.
regardless of what the QB situation is.
Mhm.
Like we've said, I would not be shocked as well. Still a very, very good team. I think their quarterback would literally need to lay an egg for this
Mhm.
team not to be a real contributor or
Yeah, I
contender,
think
if you
John
will.
said that probably Stewart's going to be likely out for the entire season. So yeah,
Yeah.
um, that's unfortunate. But yeah, they still have talent. And yeah, and I think because I love Dylan Gabriel, and we'll get to see what happens tomorrow in Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
But overall, I think Dante Moore is solid. He's been there, I think, for 2-3 years. He transferred in college football, so he's an older quarterback, and typically those older quarterbacks have seen a lot. So I think they'll be okay. And they also have their defensive Mateo Ungulate as well in defense, and you also have these names in college that are crazy, right? But it's like
Yeah.
they have some talent on the defensive side of the ball as well, especially their defensive line. So I think that Oregon will be in the thick of things. I definitely would have them at least third. I would definitely have Oregon over Illinois, to be for sure, for damn sure.